that a fertilizer factory is built or is done in Kenya, and we're able to produce our own fertilizer. I want to appreciate the President's support in my ministry, and even to once getting us to producing fertilizer locally. You all know that there are specific special economic zones that are being created in this country, and one is Naivasha. So, Mheshimiwa Zeptumo, one of the negotiations we are making with potential investors in the country, any forum that we sit on discuss, any bilateral meeting that we do with people that have capacity to support us in fertilizer production, is the creation or setting up of a fertilizer factory in the country. The discussions are ongoing. One of the areas we have targeted is Naivasha because of the necessary material. Number two, Mr. Speaker, the fertilizer that is being appreciated by nearly everyone is a fertilizer that the President directed me to go and check the factory in Dodoma in Tanzania. And when I went to Tanzania last year when we were starting this program, I found a factory in Tanzania, sat with the Minister for Agriculture in Tanzania, and told me how effective the fertilizer was and its ability to increase yields by over 40%. I listened to him, I had them reported to my boss, and he told me what you need to do is move with speed and see whether we can try. I want to confirm, Mr. Speaker, when I met that investor, the Tanzanian government was very cagey because they thought you would get the investor outside Tanzania. They didn't have a problem, and they thank the government of Tanzania for allowing us to export fertilizer from Tanzania, which fertilizer was 50 chemical, 50 organic, and the healing effects of that fertilizer to ourselves, because most of them are acidic, has been tremendous. So we've been in discussions. That company is called Tracom. It's himself from Burundi. It's a serious investor from Burundi. That is the fertilizer personally I've used in FIME. So I would want to encourage people to try that fertilizer from a company called Tracom. It's called Fomi Kuza, Fomi Otesha. Mr. Speaker, it has done wonders. So we have also succeeded, Bwana Cheptumo, in convincing that investor to come and set up a fertilizer factory in Kenya. And this fertilizer, Mheshimiwa, when we come to ask for support, yule wa Kajiado, right? The fertilizer is being set in Kajiado, and in the next less than 2 months, we'll be breaking ground for the setup of a first fertilizer factory in that particular region. So, Mheshimiwa, it's something we are doing. We are happy that you people have such ideas and you want to support us in this, but we are on course. We want to make sure it is done. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Manzo, Daniel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to seek clarification on 2 areas. I think the Minister has not answered properly, the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture. One, is there a possibility of, or do you have any plans for PPPs for cold rooms for storage of mangoes and other products which needs storage to prolong their lifetimes, so that we could do away with the brokers? And if so, what are the budgets, and when is this likely to commence? And secondly, on the issue of input and output of fertilizers, there are taxes in the input and taxes in the output. Does it not amount into double taxation? And I think that's what Honorable Lekina was trying to ask, but if you could kindly highlight on that, so that it doesn't just look like we are blaming the government unnecessarily for overtaxation. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
CS, please respond.
Mr. Speaker, I once again said that for us to be able to preserve our perishable food items, this government's agenda, and one of the areas that is keen on, is value addition. And the concept and the philosophy behind the county aggregation and industrial parks was for us to be able to aggregate our produce and be able to hand value so that we reduce post-harvest losses. So if we have to hand value and extend shelf life, then it is automatic that we have to provide cooling or cold rooms for that preservation. So within the framework of the KIPES, and because I am lucky, I was discussing with my sister Rebecca Miano last week on these KIPES, I want to confirm that within that framework, our KIPES will have those cold rooms, and there is no reason to why people should have any worries, because that is being addressed. As far as I am concerned, and there are certain levies and taxes, in my view, are mostly changed by the two arms of government at times, or in certain cases, or depending, people may also interpret them differently. But I know most of the counties are charge cess to on what is transported or what is owned within their counties. But we have been discussing with the Mheshimiwa former Speaker Emeritus of this House, who is the chair of the Agricultural Committee within the Council of Governors, for us to be able to agree that if farmers or traders are transporting food from a rich food county to a county that is starving of hunger, there is no reason to why people of that particular county should not be given the benefit of accessing cheap food by counties coming up with a tax or a levy regime that is not very punitive to our traders or our farmers. So this is, we have once, Ms. Mahanzo, realized it is happening, and we're in the discussions of trying to create harmony so that at least there is free flow of food items in the country, because we do not want to have some of our people suffering. Mr. Speaker, I beg stop there. And just like I said before, I said taxes have to be paid if we have to finance our budgets. And, pardon, I said the taxes, in fact, taxes have to be paid. We will not, anything that, and let us be specific to each tax. We must be specific what tax we are talking about. Because there is the personal pay as you earn tax, corporate tax, whatever it is, but tax is our responsibility as responsible citizens. So there can't be service without the tax. So let us all agree. Save us from this shame of going with the balls, asking to borrow. You can never, on Lekina, finance the current expenditure. We can, I have no problem borrowing for development. But the current expenditure, if I give you money today, or if you are busy putting your sufuria on the hand, and you not grow maize, you know, even if I give you maize now to eat in the morning, you will be hungry at the noon and you'll be hungry in the evening. So the best thing is give you fertilizer and then be able to grow your own 1 bag or 2 and be able to feed yourself. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Bana CS. Senator Kisang, and please be very quick with your questions.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm very quick. One, Speaker, I want to thank the CS. You realize the CSs who were in Parliament actually know their job very well. We will encourage the President in the future to pick ministers or CSs from this house, those who will have maybe who will not have stood.
Senator Kisang, go direct
Thank
to
you,
the
Honorable
question.
Speaker.
We need to
Honorable Speaker,
conclude.
mine is, I wanted to find out from the CS, Honorable Speaker, November, December, January, the dairy farmers were paid late by KCC, and there is an assurance from the President that they are going to pay us twice, beginning this March. So I wanted him to assure this House that our farmers will be paid every 15 days. And what plans does he have to ensure feed for dairy is subsidized? We get a subsidized price and we get across the country.
Buenos Dias. Let's take 2 more questions, then you answer all of them and we conclude. Senator Veronica Maina. And please go direct to the question.
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker, and thank you, CS, for the many questions you have answered and the effort you have put in the ministry. It's one of the key ministries that's delivering the plan to Kenyans. My question is simple about guaranteeing the tea prices, and we have seen the coffee prices being given a minimum guarantee. How long will it take for you to have a stable tea price in view of the disparity that we have seen in the payment of the last bonus, which left some of the tea farmers paid at a very minimal rate with so many deductions by the tea factories? And the disparity then pointed to the fact that maybe tea from certain areas was more better or more productive or more quality than tea from other areas. CS, is it possible that we have the prices stabilized so that farmers are assured of an income that is stable and an income that supports all the inputs they've had to do in order to produce?
Thank you, Senator. Senator Onyonka.
I would like to, first of all, start, Mr. Speaker, if you'll allow me for just a minute. I wanted to say, for me, it's a great honor to be in this house.
Go direct to the question, please, Senator.
I will, sir, just for a second. I wanted to say that the CS has performed beyond our expectation, and we are proud of you. Thank you, sir. The question I wanted to ask you, Mr. CS, is that number one, 2 of the questions I was going to ask you've already answered, so I'll go to just 2 more that I have. I know that you've set up an app which shows in Kenya the areas where the soil's content, soil quality is and what you can grow in these particular areas, which I thought was an ingenious and very clever way of giving the Kenyan public data if somebody wanted to do farming. The question I'm asking you now is it possible that your ministry can also set up an app which then, once you've given the soil content, and even I'm told you are able to give us the periods when the rains fall and when they don't, is it possible then for you to do another app which tells every Kenyan the area where they are, what plants and what animals they can keep in that particular region, so that they are able to use your expertise to benefit themselves? The last question I wanted to ask, because we don't have time.
Senator, just one question. The final question will be asked by Senator Hilary Sigei.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker, and once again also appreciate the CS for creating time to come and respond to the questions in this House. My question, Honorable CS, is about supplementary to the question on the e-subsidy fertilizer, the USST code that the ministry has introduced with regards to the registration, the new registration regime for farmers. I am a farmer, Honorable CS, and there is part of the USST code that allows one to expand or extend on the acreage, which on prior registration you had given some, second registration requires you to run through that system. But unfortunately, I've tried actually in the house here now 3 times. That system tells me I am not registered in the Kiamis system, and therefore I cannot enhance my registration process to get additional e-subsidy fertilizer. What is it that could be the issue? I know it's probably one of the questions that you might not be able to answer now, but it is something that farmers are unable to do it, yet they cannot access fertilizers other than when their acreage has been enhanced by the system according to the new registration regime. Thank you.
Thank you. CS, please respond to all of them so that we can conclude.
Chairman, there are so many I may not even remember who asked what. But, but Chairman, let me be able to respond, Chairman, and I think I will start, if you allow me, I'll start by answering the question
Senator
from
Cherargei, we need to conclude.
on subsidizing
The CS
animal
had
feed.
communicated to the House, the CS had priorly communicated to the House that he had a prior engagement, and we have kept him here for almost 2 hours. So it is time that we conclude this matter so that we can give leave to the CS and we can continue with other business. Please, Senator Cherargei.
Thank you.
CS, please continue with the answer.
So, Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. And the question was raised on whether or what we are doing to ensure there is access of cheap quality animal feed, or what we've been doing. I want to remind the members that when we are in these problems, I indeed request Treasury.
CS, just one moment, please. What is your point of order, Senator Cherargei?
Mr. Speaker, I thought we had agreed that agriculture is a very important. We did have, if we are joining at 1, to give us 1 minute, so that we can see how we can proceed, Mr. Speaker.
What is your point of order, Senator Cherargei?
My point of order, Mr. Speaker, is on the Standing Order 41 on quorum of the proceedings of the Senate. Since the CS has another matter, we can adjourn and maybe invite him. Mr. Speaker, the House is not looking around. We don't have appropriate quorum, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Cherargei, we were just about to conclude.
Yes, there's no quorum. No quorum. Yes.
Senator Cherargei, we were just about to conclude, but I do actually confirm that there's no quorum, so we'll have to ring the bell for 10 minutes.
So umenirelease ama niendelee?